shit on there because, you know, it's fun.
It is.
It's stupid. What's up, my man? How you doing, Ned?
I'm doing good. How about you, Adam?
I'm good. You have a little different background there. What's going on?
We moved into a new office.
Here, I'll do the widescreen. Hold on. Here we go.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, moved into a new office, and I got a neon sign. I got my traffic light. I got my runway lights. I got my airport lights. Got a couple of chairs. I'm cranking it, man.
Yeah, all you need is your smoking jacket, and you're gonna look like you're in the study.
And a pipe.
Yeah, a pipe. Are you filming Clue over there? It was Ned in the study with a smoking jacket.
Yeah, I mean, I could go live from over here in my director's chair too.
Dear Lord. Well, that's fun. So I guess the next time we film you, we're gonna have to film over in the study.
Right here, brother. We'll be right here.
Yep.
I'm gonna start sending you a lot of content from over here. Tons of stuff.
Well, good, because you have shit to say. I don't always know what it is, but you've got stuff to say.
That's it's amazing. One of our dear friends always says, Ned will tell you what he does, but you still won't know when he's done telling you.
That sounds accurate.
And I'm not sure I know either.
Yeah, let me take a guess which one of our friends said that.
Yeah, she was one of the ones that interviewed me.
Yeah, that brought up the Sabu.
Oh yeah, that'd be the one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's hilarious. So what have you been up to besides moving, I guess?
Moving took up a ton of time and a lot of 4-letter words, moving heavy stuff into the office. Let's see. I broke one of Sue's drawers, which I have yet to fix. I need to do that in the move, which created an enormous package of 4-letter words. I think half of Fairlawn heard it, if not all of Fairlawn.
Yeah.
Let's see. Working, business is good. Flying is good. We can bring the dog to the office now. She's over there. She's all kinds of happy. So, you know.
Well, that's funny that you broke shit whenever you were moving, because whenever you guys were here and filming or whatever, somehow my television got broken, which I'm pretty sure it was me. But now I'm just going to blame you because you just
because I was near it. I was near it.
Yeah, you break shit. So clearly it was you that broke the damn TV.
I'm certain it was.
But that's okay because TV, I'm not sure if you're aware of this, if you bought a TV recently, they're cheap as hell.
They are. They're ridiculously
ridiculous.
Yeah, the price keeps coming down.
Yeah,
it was only about a year ago that I got rid of my last tube TV.
What?
And seriously. Yeah. And wow. it took a mule and 6 men to get it moved out to the garbage.
And the 6 men were Amish.
Yeah.
Which is really like 12 men.
That's right.
Jeezy Pete. What do you want to talk about today, Ned? I had some thoughts.
I didn't have a whole lot on my mind, to be honest with you. I was. I guess there's two things. I guess there's two things. I recently spoke at the Falls Chamber, and I've had some interesting feedback on that. And our dear fearless leader at the Falls Chamber about passed out when we gave her the title, but she powered through and she was courageous. I was proud of her, and then. And then they're going to have the ribbon cutting on Thursday for the new co-working space over at the chamber.
Yeah, I'm excited about that.
I think it's pretty cool. It's pretty awesome. So maybe
we got to get people in there and see it and see what it's all about and understand how it's going to work and why it'll work for them. And I think one of the most powerful things about the whole concept is whether you ever step foot in there or not as like a resident and use it for the co-working, whatever it's meant to be. If you're a member of the chamber, it still benefits you because it's a source of revenue.
Correct.
So for the chamber itself. So it allows us to do more things and cost effective as well. So we should never be doing things that are cost prohibitive to our members. And that's one of the ways that we're going to be able to do that. The way those organizations survive is non-dues revenue.
Right.
And we've just identified a huge resource for that.
We sure have. Yeah. So anyway, I don't know.
So the topic, let's recap. The topic was no one gives a shit what you sell.
Correct. No one gives a shit what you sell. That's absolutely correct. They don't. They don't.
They don't. No one cares. I was just, I'm involved in the entrepreneur program with the 6th District Compact and whatever. So this morning was a mentoring session with my kid, and today's topic was networking. And so I said something very similar. I'm like, no one gives a shit what you do. What's a good 30-second commercial? How do you intro it? And I'm like, please don't. Please do not do that. What's a good 30-second commercial? Ask them what they do. No one cares.
Right.
Like they're not interested.
A friend of mine has an interesting approach to, and I hope he's listening, has an interesting approach to networking. And he calls it Ford. And Ford stands for, when you meet somebody at a networking event, ask them about their family.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them about their organization. Ask them about their recreation, and ask them about their desires or aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was interesting. He says, you'll get to the job when you talk about the organization, what organization you're with. What do you do? I thought it was really interesting because it shows true interest in somebody. And I always liked that approach. My buddy Andrew, that was his deal.
Say that again, Ned. I'm going to put that on the ticker.
So you kind of remember the moniker Ford, like the car, and you ask someone about their family. And whatever their family is, it is, right? It's not a predetermined family. You ask them about their organization or occupation, however you want to remember it, what their recreations are, what do they do for fun, and what are their desires or aspirations, or, it could be, where do you want to go on vacation next? Just something in the future, something that they're looking forward to. And you'll notice it's all questioning them. It's not walking up going, hi, my name's Bob. Here's my 47 of my business cards. Would you put them everywhere that you live or whatever?
Well, right. And that's actually what we were talking about this morning is I'll actually play a game with myself at networking events. I want to see if I can get out of there without actually telling somebody what I do.
Right.
Like it's just, and that doesn't really happen, but can I actually, it just puts that at the forefront of, can I get out of here without actually telling somebody what I do? Because that forces me to talk to them, ask questions of them.
Yep.
And really that's ammunition. Because whenever I do have a conversation back, I have all these little clues, all these bits of knowledge about them that, over time, they're not even going to remember where it came from.
Right. The other thing I've started doing, Andrew or Adam, is when people want to network with me, they call me up, they want to meet with me, they want to ask whatever. I always try to end the conversation of, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
And it's astounding when you say that to someone, because they went, gee, no one's ever asked me that before.
Right.
They don't know what to make of it. And the thing I like about it is they probably remember the statement, and that's fine. That's what I want them to do, is remember the statement. Maybe they'll do it for someone someday.
That's a great point. I was actually on a call with a fella. Now no one's going to know the guy's name, but he's friends with all the names that you do know. Okay. Gary V, Dennis Yu, all the marketing gurus.
Right.
So I'm on a call with this guy because he was going to hire a friend of mine. And so the whole conversation was just on a complete different level. The first thing that he starts off the conversation with, hey, thanks for taking the time. Let me get to know you a little bit. As a thank you, what are you up to? What are you doing? Whatever. He goes, oh, and let me frame this up that I really don't, how did he say it? I don't really care about your opinion on why we should hire Nick. We've already decided whether we're going to do that or not. I don't really need someone's opinion on whether or not they're a good fit in our organization. He goes, what I want to talk to you about is, how do we make sure that Nick wakes up in the morning and wants to come to work?
Brilliant. Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I'm like, man, okay, you've got my attention. And then he he asked me a bunch of questions about myself, asked me questions about my buddy, whatever. But then he ended the conversation with, what can I do for you? And it had come up during the course of this half-hour call, that he knew some people that I was sort of, starstruck with and whatever. And he goes, do you want an introduction, whatever? And what was interesting is I couldn't even bring myself to ask him to do anything for me. I didn't even take advantage of it. I was just kind of like, wow, well, can we connect on LinkedIn? Will you accept my
That was pretty lame.
Yeah. I didn't know what the hell to ask. I know, the other thing that he said during this call was their mantra at the company that he owned was, if you could automate or document your job, you got a raise and a different job.
Yeah. What was that again?
Right. If you can automate or document completely the job that you do, you get a raise and you get a different position. So think about the conventional wisdom that just flipped on its head, because, I think people still do it. I'm the only one in the company that knows how to do X, Y, or Z, job security. Well, that's the dumbest thing on the planet for you and for your boss, for the owner, for your employer. It's the dumbest thing in the world. But it's what we do, right?
Yeah, it is. I went to work for a manufacturing company years ago. The best experience I ever had. And the president, I was hired by everybody. I was going to be hired, and the president wanted to have lunch with me. It was perfunctory. I was already been given the offer. So I'm sitting with him at lunch, and he said, Ned, we have a kind of an unwritten rule here, which makes it culture, by the way. And he said, if there's a job that's open in the company, whether you're qualified for it or not, but if you're interested in it, put in for it. He said, because it gives us an opportunity to talk about your career aspirations and for us to get a deeper understanding of what you want to do and what excites you. And he said, but you need to understand that the very first question I will ask you is, who do you have ready to take your position?
Oh, yeah.
Because he said, if I promote you into this new job, now I got another position I've got to go out and fill in my own, and I don't want to go through all that work. That's your job. You need to set up your successor. It's like, whoa.
Yep.
Whoa. Yep. And it was deeply embedded culture there. It was a quarterly conversation about where are your employees that work for you? Who's ready to take the next step? If not, what do they need to take? I mean, typical succession planning, wasn't anything magical about that, but
well, and why isn't that more obvious, Ned? But so you just said that, and it almost sounds profound. And I've heard, I've had those conversations, specifically like Verizon. I have a store manager; they're interested in a different position or whatever, or, moving up into DM or a regional manager position. It's like, okay, but who fills your role? Who have you been grooming? Like, well, why is that not more obvious? You are in a leadership position. Leaders create more leaders. That should be your primary function, is creating more leaders.
Let me take exception. Yeah, let me take exception with one thing you said. You're in a management position, but if you're not doing it, you're not a leader.
What do you mean?
You may have the title store manager, but if you're not understanding that the number one priority of a leader, not a manager, a leader is the development of others, then you're the manager, you're not the leader.
Well, I totally agree with that. So I guess that goes even further upstream. No one was in a management position that wasn't a leader. Well, you probably already knew this. In my region, nobody is in a management position that doesn't understand that is a leadership role, not a management role.
And that's because they made it the culture, and they made it understood, and they talked about it, and it became a priority for them to do that. It doesn't happen automatically. It doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen because you're sitting around and you dream it up after your Wednesday cocktail after work. It happens because people talk about it and they make it a thing. That's why it happens. That's why it happens. That's why people should be having a one-on-one meetings with their direct reports every month, period. And my rule on one-on-ones is you never cancel them. You only reschedule them. Because if you cancel one, you've canceled them all because you'll never reschedule it.
You're right.
So you only reschedule it. That's the rule. Ned, I can't meet with my direct report on Wednesday at 2. Then reschedule it. I have to cancel it. No, you don't. You have to reschedule it. It's a subtle difference, but it has a huge impact.
It sure does. And I think that's important for any standing meeting. Make a standing meeting. Don't make it reinventing the wheel every month or quarter or whatever. Make it a standing meeting, so you have to go through the basic. You have to reschedule it rather than schedule it.
Correct.
That's a big deal.
Right.
Hey, I want to circle back. You had mentioned that you got some feedback on your talk at the chamber lunch with our speaker series. No one gives a shit what you sell. I got a lot of great feedback as well. Just people were very happy with the talk. Got a lot out of it. What was some of the feedback that you had got, Ned?
Mostly that people said, damn you, I'm now thinking about my business different and it hurts. Mm-hmm. Because they're having to think of that third question in the process is actually a hard question to answer. It really is. And it can take an enormous amount of time. I make it look easy because I've been studying these 3 questions for 15 years. But if I step into a brand new company, it's a lot of work to get that third question answered. A lot of work to get it.
So recap the 3 questions real quick, just in case somebody's watching that's not sure.
Question number 1 is, what business are you in? Which is usually fairly simple to answer. Everybody gets pretty surface with the answer, and I always encourage them to go 1 level down, maybe 2. The second question is, what do you sell? And that is fairly simple. It's the tactile service you sell, right? It's whatever. It's what you hand the person, right? Whatever you physically hand them. So that one's usually pretty easy to answer. The third one, however, is really, really difficult. And that is, what are your customers buying, or what do your customers buy? And the thing that I tell people is, what you sell and what they buy are 2 completely different things. And that's where it gets really difficult, because you now have to put your feet in the customer's shoes and try to understand where they are. And that's hard to do when you live it every day. It's not easy. Mm-hmm. This is not easy, but it is, it really is something that once you understand it and you get it, it can change everything. How you look at how you position your product, to how you talk to your customers, to how you listen to your customers, to how you give your employees purpose.
Yep.
Right. I mean, it's giving your employees purpose, which is a huge piece to the puzzle. And people just said, man, I'm thinking about it different. I still don't know what my customers buy. That's all right. You keep thinking about it. You keep asking the question. You'll figure it out. It'll come to you.
That last thing that you just said about giving employees purpose, or giving the team purpose, is critical, and it's overlooked. And we have to, you and I talk about workforce development all the time. And how it's changing right now. And if we are not giving purpose to team, it's a part of compensation. And we have to look at it that way. If we are not giving them purpose, we are not compensating them in the way that they want to be compensated. And it's only going to continue to go further down that road. And the folks that figure it out are going to have talent coming to them. The folks that don't are going to go, everyone's in their basement. No one wants to work. Mm-mm.
Right.
That's not true.
No, that's
not true.
That's not true.
They just don't want to work for you.
Right.
And that, you got to figure that out. The purpose thing. I remember I was at one of our favorite breakfast spots, and I accidentally had this conversation with one of the waitresses. She was kind of glum that day and whatever, and she had said something along the lines of that all she did was serve food and whatever, and nothing really all that important. Maybe she ought to finish college or whatever. And I'm like, whoa. Hold on. I'm not going to tell you don't go to college and don't, pursue dreams or whatever. I go, but if you think for a second that what you do isn't important, you're crazy. You have the power to affect someone's day. Do you know? I could eat way cheaper at home.
Oh yeah.
I could go somewhere else. I come here because I know no matter who's working, I'm going to have a pleasant conversation.
Yep.
I'm going to have a good meal. I'm going to have a pleasant conversation, but I can do this elsewhere. I come here for that reason. You have the power to affect someone's day, which in turn gives them the power to affect somebody else's day, and whatever, it has this butterfly effect. So if I leave here in a good mood and you had something to do with it, I'm going to go have a different meeting than I would have if I'm in a piss poor mood. I'm going to go interact with somebody in a much different way than I would if I'm pissed off,
right,
or I'm in a bad mood. I go,
yep.
Don't underestimate the power that you have to affect somebody's day. You help, and breakfast is a thing.
It's a thing.
It's a thing. Absolutely a thing. I love going to breakfast. That goes back to my dad, my grandmother. I'd always go to breakfast with them. I love going to breakfast. And it's how you set up your day. To this day, I still love going to breakfast. And let me tell you, the body language changed. Her shoulders kind of went back a little bit, her head kind of tilted up, and all of a sudden she felt really, really important because she had purpose that had never been explained to her before. And I think she thanked me about 3 different times before I left again for that day, that morning. Just how the purpose of what she was doing had been conveyed in a whole different way of what she had thought about herself.
Yeah, I frequently say that the dirtiest 4-letter word in the English language is the word just. I'm just a waitress. I'm just an accountant. I'm just a doctor. I mean, I've heard everybody say it, from janitors to neurosurgeons have said it. And it's like, wow, why are you saying you're less than? Why are you doing that?
And if you think that I'm here to buy an omelet, you are wrong.
Yeah, I can get an omelet anywhere.
Yeah, you are wrong. And I'm also going to have pancakes. And you're definitely wrong because I'm going to eat a freaking omelet. I'm going to eat all sorts of other shit.
Yeah, you do.
Well, sometimes I get an omelet with some spinach, but I like the oatmeal and I like the waffles.
One of these days, I'm just going to reach across the table and take some of what you order because I don't think you need it all.
Well, clearly I don't. Clearly I don't need any of it. You know what I've been doing? I've been getting to that point. I've been getting a smoothie on my way in and not eating breakfast as much because that's
yeah.
Anyway,
I get it.
So 2 things struck me about your talk that day, which I thought was excellent. I use a version of it when we're talking, doing a spaghetti session or whatever with a new client as well, because it starts the conversation about messaging really nicely. It starts down the path of what's unique about your company, what's that UVP. Can we move you into a blue ocean from a red ocean with your actual offer, which messaging has the power to do? And we can't get there if you don't know what people buy. If we're only talking about what you sell, the tangible widget, whatever that is, if we're not talking about what people actually buy, how can we actually get a hook? Right. How can we get an offer to make sense that's going to resonate? How are we going to discuss where people are in awareness? Because there's different stages of awareness. It's not just one stage. They can be problem aware, solution aware, product aware, and then aware of you, or completely unaware. There's actually 5 stages. So that starts that dialogue really, really nicely. So I love the 3 questions. So I had 2 takeaways from that. One is that you don't freaking like Chick-fil-A. That I did get that. It's just freaking chicken. What'd you say? Like, it's not like you can get chicken is chicken. You can't get Wagyu chicken.
That's right.
Nobody's rubbing sake on a bird. Nope. They eat dirt.
There's no aged chicken. There's no grade A chicken. There's no chicken that's branded like Angus beef, with all the criteria that goes around that.
But that pickle, man.
Chickens peck dirt. That's what they do. They peck dirt, okay? And it's chicken. There's no one chicken is exactly like another chicken. So I say that Chick-fil-A is living proof that you can outsell your competition with an inferior product and far superior service.
Well, you just have to be the best at something. You don't have to be the best at price.
And
you don't have to be the best at quality.
Nope.
McDonald's, right? You don't have to be the best at the drive-through. People just need to think that you are, I guess.
And boy, did we just learn that last week.
We did. Everybody thinks that Chick-fil-A is the best drive-through.
They're not. They're actually slower than everybody else. But the illusion they put on is absolutely astounding.
Yeah.
It's astounding.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's chicken, for God's sakes. And you know, I've given this talk to, and I had some guy in the back of the room raise his hand. He goes, they put a pickle on it. Well, excuse me. Apparently, that makes it all the rage.
The pickle tickle. That's, yeah.
It's chicken. You know, it reminded me when my daughter was probably, oh man, she's so good at remembering this. If I called her up, she'd give me the exact age she was. But she was probably 12, something like that. And I took her on a business trip with me to Miami. And the client put us up in the Epic Resort. I mean, this was a super high-end place near South Beach. It was fantastic. And so whenever we traveled with our daughter, I'd always put her in charge of something, finding the gate, reading, getting the map on the subway, you know, because I wanted her to be a good traveler. So I told her, I said, look, I'm going to be with the client all day. You can go hang around at the pool. Your job is to go down to the concierge and find a nice steakhouse within walking distance for you and I tonight. She said, what's a concierge? Good learning time. So I told her what the concierge was, how to find it. So after the workshop, I went down to the pool and she was sitting there and she says, I went and met the concierge, very nice man. I said, good. She goes, so I've got this steakhouse. It's a walk, Dad. They said we could walk to get there. I said, great. So we swam for a little bit, changed our clothes, and we walked to this place, walking over a bridge, a little footbridge. And I look down and I see the city steakhouse and I just see the face of it. And Adam, I went, yeah, this is a steakhouse. There's no question about it. So we sit down and open the menu. You know, I think the cheapest steak on the menu, she's 29 now. So this is like, the cheapest steak on the menu is like $52, right? You know?
Right.
And the poor kid had the menu up like this. And all of a sudden her eyes came down. She went, Daddy, I'm sorry. I said, for what? I hope you find a steakhouse, right? What are you sorry about? She goes, well, this is expensive. She said, I'll get the chicken to save money. And I said, put your menu down. Let's have a talk. So the waitress came over. I said, no, we're not ready. We're having a lesson. She walked away. I said, that chicken is $38. There's not a chicken on the planet or a chef good enough to make that chicken worth $38 under any circumstances. First of all. Second of all, you're not at a chicken house. You're at a damn steakhouse. So you're going to get steak. So you just pick the steak you want. Don't worry about it. I said, if the $12 difference between the cheapest steak and that chicken is makes it so I can afford it, I need not be sitting here at all. Right. I need to get up and walk out right now. It was one of those lessons where, are you kidding me? No, you're not going to go to probably the finest steakhouse. And we walked in, Adam, and they had private wine lockers locked next to the hostess stand. The first one I see is Pat Riley, the head coach of the Miami Heat. Oh yeah, I'm in a place.
Right.
And it was a fantastic meal. And, you know, I mean, we don't do it every night. So what difference does it make? You know, let's have a good time. But yeah, it's one of those lessons that you learn. And $38 chicken, please.
Maybe it had a pickle on it.
Well, there would have been a $12 pickle. So you're right. It probably did.
Yeah. It had a fancy pickle on it, which is just a pissed off cucumber.
Well said.
So my other takeaway, you said something, I believe it was during the Q&A.
What's that?
So my other takeaway from your talk, it was actually completely off topic, but it was worth noting, and it deserves its whole other discussion. It came up during the Q&A, and you were talking about policy, and you made the comment, who is this policy for?
Oh, yeah.
So I remember having a conversation with a client before that got rave reviews. Uh-huh. I mean, 1 out of 100 reviews was negative. And of all these reviews that they get, very few negative reviews, but all the reviews had nothing to do with the experience, had nothing to do with the service. It had to do with their refund policy.
Oh boy.
Had to do with their policy. And I pointed out to him, I go, hey, you realize that the only thing that you get negative reviews on, people aren't reviewing you. They're not reviewing your company. They're not reviewing the experience that you give them.
Right.
They negatively review you because of a policy.
Mm-hmm.
So talk to me a little bit about how, so you made the comment, who is this policy for? Is this policy for the customer? Is it for the employee? Is it for you? Is it for the company?
So I will make the argument, and somebody might point out one policy in 50,000 that would say this isn't true and like whatever. But I will make the argument that policies are written for on the behalf of the company, not on behalf of the customer. Now, now I'm sure we could find some policies at the Ritz-Carlton and Nordstrom's and maybe Starbucks and some of the other places that are just phenomenal on customer service that would have policies in the other direction. But generally speaking, we write a policy usually to solve a problem that's not there, and it creates a new problem that we then don't know how to manage it. And so the policy is written for the behalf of the company, not the behalf of the customer. I'm not saying don't have any policies. I'm not saying that we shouldn't. Construction sites should have the policy that everybody wear a hard hat, customer or not. And then I would argue that policy is in behalf of all of us as human beings, but it's a safety policy. It's not a customer service policy, right? So it's a completely different animal. So yeah, we need to have policies. We need to have some borders in place. We need to have we need to define the ball field where our employees can play. I get that. I have no problem with that at all. But we need to examine each and every one of them and make sure that the policy itself isn't creating a new problem, trying to solve a problem that may not have existed at all. And it's just astounding to me. I just had this conversation with somebody that wanted to, oh my gosh, they're all up in arms over their credit card fees, and they were talking about doing this policy where you had to put money down. And I said, dude, because, all this stuff. And I said, dude, look, I said, first of all, let's just look at this on the good old fashioned Excel spreadsheet. Take a stab at how much administrative time is going to go into this. Just how many hours and what do those hours cost you? So let's start there. And then let's take a look at how many of our customers we tick off. Oh, by the way, you're only going to do this for new customers. Awesome. It's kind of like the cell phone companies. I got a great deal for everybody except the guy that's been loyal to me for 15 years.
Right.
So let's piss off our our new customers before they even get in the door, and see how many of them we can lose. You may not be saving enough to make it worth your while. And he did back of the envelope kind of, he goes, you know what, maybe you're right. Maybe I am chasing a problem that doesn't exist. I go, you really are, in my opinion. There's a famous steakhouse in Akron, Ohio, that does not take credit cards.
They sure don't.
You can pay cash, you can pay by check, or you can write your name and address. They'll send you a bill. And before the current owner, I asked the old owner who'd owned it for 40 some years, how many people stiff you? And he said, well, he goes, I don't know the number. He goes, I can tell you a couple of years we calculated that it costs us about, what did he say? 90% less than it would in credit card fees.
Wow.
So let's say your credit card fees are $100,000, and so he spends 10 grand in people that don't pay and saves 90 for the credit cards that he didn't take. So it was a net gain to him, and they still do it to this day. I think that's just a stunning, it's just really kind of cool.
Wow, right? That's really cool.
And I don't know that every business could do that, but, I don't know every business could do that, but certainly a boutique, very unique independent steakhouse can do it like they are. And I hope they never do away with it, because I love it. I think it's great.
It sort of adds to the mystique of the place too. Like when you go there, it doesn't take a credit card. So you do things to make sure.
Right. Unless you bring your out of town guests and you don't tell them just to screw with them.
Right.
Which is a great sport of mine.
Screwing with people?
Well, yeah, especially, yeah, it is. Yeah. So anyway, brother, what else is going on? Anything? What's going on in your world?
Just staying busy, man. It's a very interesting time at Digital Sandwich. I can't complain a bit. Things are good.
Good. You got a great team over there.
Man, it's an embarrassment of riches. Honestly, I say that all the time. The folks that have chosen to be part of the team,
right.
It's unbelievable.
Right. No, you got a great team, and it's just fantastic. So, it's interesting. I've heard about the theme of yes and say yes and or yes, however, or yes, and this is what it'll cost you. And your culture is very much a yes culture. Hey, Adam, can we do this? Yes. This is what the outcome will be. Well, I don't know that I want that outcome, which is very different for me, the customer, than if you're telling me, no, you don't want to do that. Then I just want to do it more because I'm a stubborn ass, right? But I think a lot of people are. That's not. I mean, you guys are. You create this culture of we're here to serve our customers. If you want to do that, yeah, we can do that. We don't think it's going to net you or whatever, but yeah, we can certainly do it. You give me the consequence of doing that, or no, that's a great idea, or we can go there, or whatever. Whatever. I haven't. You haven't said no to me yet. Now I'm sure I could come up with something where you'll look at me and go, "Yeah, you're out of your mind." And
I'll just keep saying yes, but then I'll just send you a different bill.
Well, yeah, and then and what it'll be is, yeah, if you really want to do that, that's fine. But now you have to buy me beer because it'll be painful for both of us.
Yes. Well, and we'll consider rather than that's actually what it'll look like is do we consume the beer before or after we do the thing you're asking me to do?
That's right.
That's the difference. I'll look at you and go, that's a before.
That's a before.
That's an after. You're going to have to get me a couple IPAs in before we're doing.
So I have a question. I don't know, before we wrap this up, I don't know if you're able to do this technologically or not. I'm springing this on you last minute. Should we do a little teaser with one of the videos you put together for me?
Let me look real quick if I can do that.
I know this was a last minute thing. But I just thought of it.
Give me just 1 second. I should actually be able to do that. Let me see. How do I do that? See if it'll let this do it. Okay, hold on 1 second.
All right.
Download this real quick. Okay, there we go. You know me, I got the technology, buddy. is it doing that?
I probably should have given you a heads up on that. I apologize.
No, that's a good idea, though. There we go. Let's do.
What advice do you have for somebody who's not in a designated leadership position, but wants to be a leader?
The way you carry yourself, the way you interact, the advice you give others, the listening that you do to others, the place that you spend your time, your talent, your treasure, are all things that demonstrate ourselves as leaders. And it is just how you carry yourself and what you do that determines that you're a leader. Sometimes that's learning skills. Sometimes it's just figuring out where I'm going to spend my time, talent, and treasure. Sometimes it's figuring out who I interact with and why. So it all wraps around how you carry yourself and how you believe you carry yourself. There we go. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's some of your handiwork. You and your team.
Yeah. No, I thought those turned out really well. And then sort of the CSI kind of theme where, we've got all these different videos that are connected.
Yeah. No, I love it.
With the same intro. So, yeah, it's good stuff.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
All right, brother. We'll see you tomorrow at the ribbon cutting, right?
Or tomorrow or Thursday?
Thursday. See you Thursday.
Cool. That sounds good. Maybe I'll see you before or after too.
Definitely after. I've already got it on the calendar. You didn't know that, but I got it on my calendar. So
okay.
All right.
All right, my man. Have a good one, Ned.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.